sovereignty, territorial integrity of the relevant countries. Dialogue and diplomacy was the only viable pathway forward, committing to peaceful resolution of disputes and refraining from the use of force or the threat of use of force. Security of number three, security of non-military targets must be ensured. The principles of protecting civilians in the military conflict should be observed, and upholding of full adherence to international humanitarian law. And finally, the primacy of the UN Charter was reaffirmed. The security of the shipping lanes was also mentioned in these 5 points, including safety of passage of crew members and stranded in the Strait of Hormuz, allow the safe passage of civilians and commercial ships, and restore normal passage through the straits as soon as possible. So this was, ladies and gentlemen, in the gist of the 5 points peace, 5 points peace initiative by Pakistan and China. And moving on to some of the other aspects, which includes the roundup of the important telephone conversations that was held between Prime Minister and his counterparts and the Deputy Prime Minister with his counterparts. So on 27th March, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Honorable Prime Minister Muhammad Shahbaz Sharif, received a telephone call from His Highness Sheikh Sabah Al Khalid Al Hamad Al Sabah, the Crown Prince of the State of Kuwait, expressing a strong condemnation of attacks against Kuwait. The Prime Minister also apprised the Kuwaiti leadership of Pakistan's sincere diplomatic efforts to bring an end to the war in the Middle East. While expressing deep appreciation of the Prime Minister's leadership, the Crown Prince of Kuwait fully endorsed Pakistan's efforts for mediation between Iran and the US. He also thanked the Prime Minister for Pakistan's support to Kuwait in the current crisis. The next day, the Prime Minister held an important telephone conversation with His Excellency Dr. Masood Pezeshkian, the President of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Our Prime Minister briefed the Iranian President on the strong endorsement of Pakistan's peace initiative and expressed the hope that the viable path towards ending hostility could be found collectively. While appreciating Prime Minister's sincere diplomatic efforts, the Iranian President shared his perspective on the ongoing hostilities perpetrated particularly by Israel against Iran. He stressed upon the need to build trust in order to facilitate talks and mediation. And in this regard, he acknowledged the Prime Minister's Pakistan's supportive role for peace. On 31st March, the Prime Minister received a telephone call from His Excellency Antonio Costa, the President of the European Council. The two sides exchanged views on ongoing hostilities in the Middle East. They also discussed strengthening Pakistan-EU relations, including the importance of GSP Plus and upcoming Pakistan-EU Business Forum in Islamabad, scheduled end of this month. The Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister, Senator Muhammad Ishaq Dar, also held important telephone calls during this week. Very briefly, let me list those. On 27th March, he held the telephone conversation with the Foreign Minister of China and the member of the Political Bureau of the CPC Central Committee, Mr. Wang Yi. The two leaders exchanged views on the evolving regional situation. The Chinese side expressed their deep appreciation for Pakistan's constructive role in promoting de-escalation and conveyed China's support in this regard. Both leaders reaffirmed that Pakistan and China are strategic cooperative partners bound by mutual trust. They agreed to continue working closely to promote peace and stability in the region and beyond. And 3 to 4 days later to this telephone call, the visit of the Deputy Prime Minister to China took place. The second important telephone conversation was the DPM held on the same day with the Foreign Minister of Egypt, Dr. Badr Abdul Ateh. He also spoke on the same day with the Foreign Minister of Turkey, and he also spoke with the Foreign Minister of Turkey on 27th March and then on 31st March. On 28th March, the DPM held a telephone conversation with the UN Secretary General, Mr. Antonio Guterres. They exchanged views on the evolving situation in West Asia and its implication for international peace and security. The DPM underscored that United Nations remains indispensable to conflict prevention and resolution, and reaffirmed Pakistan's unwavering commitment to diplomacy and dialogue as the only viable pathway towards sustainable peace. Secretary General Guterres expressed appreciation and extended full support for Pakistan's ongoing diplomatic efforts in pursuit of peace and stability in the region. On 28th March, the DPM spoke with the Prime Minister and the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the State of Qatar, His Excellency Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman Al Jassim Al Thani, and the same day he held a telephone conversation with the Foreign Minister of Indonesia, Mr. Sugiarno. On 29th March, he spoke with the Foreign Minister of Iran, His Excellency Abbas Araghchi. The two leaders discussed the evolving regional situation and ongoing developments. DPM emphasized the need for de-escalation, stressing that dialogue and diplomacy remains the only viable path towards lasting peace. This conversation took place on the eve of the four-party talks in Islamabad, the group of four foreign ministers. Ladies and gentlemen, through this week you must have seen an important post by our Deputy Prime Minister allowing that the government of Iran has allowed 20 more ships under Pakistan flag to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. Two ships will cross the strait daily, and he said that this was a welcome development and constructive gesture by Iran, which deserved appreciation. It is a harbinger of peace and will help usher stability in the region. This positive announcement marks the meaningful step forwards towards strengthening our collective efforts in this direction of dialogue, diplomacy, and such confidence building measures are the only way forward. And you must have observed the subsequent appreciation of this gesture and this initiative. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, you must have seen on Tuesday the 8 foreign ministers, that is of Pakistan, Egypt, Jordan, United Arab Emirates, Indonesia, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar issued a joint statement condemning and forthrightly rejecting the continued restrictions imposed by Israel on freedom of worship of Christian and Muslims in occupied Jerusalem, including the prevention of Muslim worshippers from accessing Al-Aqsa Mosque and Haram al-Sharif, and the prevention of Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem and the custos of the Holy Land from entering the Church of the Holy Sepulchre to celebrate the Palm Sunday Mass. The foreign minister renewed their condemnation and rejection of any Israel attempts to alter the legal and historical status quo of the Muslims and Christian holy sites in Jerusalem. The ministers reaffirmed their absolute rejection of the illegal restrictive measures by Israel against Muslims and Christians in Jerusalem, including preventing Christians from accessing the Church of Holy Sepulchre to perform their religious mass. They stressed the necessity of respecting the legal and historical status quo of Jerusalem and its Muslims and Christian holy sites. Reiterated that Israel, as the occupying power, has no sovereignty over occupied Jerusalem, and underscoring the need to halt all measures that impede worshippers to access these places of worship. The ministers reiterated that the entire area of Al-Aqsa Mosque, Al-Haram al-Sharif, amounting to 144 dunams, is a place of worship exclusively for Muslims in Jerusalem. Endowment and of Al-Aqsa Mosque Affairs Department, affiliated with the Jordanian Ministry of Awqaf and Islamic Affairs, is the legal entity with exclusive jurisdiction to administer the affairs of the blessed Al-Aqsa Mosque, Al-Haram al-Sharif, and regulation of entry to this site. They also called on the international community to adopt a very firm, strong position that compels Israel to halt its ongoing violations and illegal practices against Islamic and Christian holy sites in Jerusalem and the violation of the sanctity of these holy places. With this, I conclude my opening remarks, and now the floor is open for question answers. Ji at the back.
Thank you, sir. Sir, talks are being held between Afghanistan and Pakistan in China. So, can you please share the details if you have any?
Talks between Pakistan. Yes, these talks, you meaning the talks that are being taking place in Urumqi? Yeah. Yes, Pakistan has sent its delegation. Pakistan has sent its delegation to Urumqi in line with its consistent position and long-standing practice of supporting credible process that can help durable solution to sanctuaries in and across border to stop the cross-border terrorism from Afghanistan. Our participation is a reiteration of our core concerns. The burden of real process, however, lies with Afghanistan, which must demonstrate visible and verifiable actions against terrorist groups using Afghan soil against Pakistan. Thank you. Ji Mateen Saab.
Thank you, Mr. Spokesperson. So, at the end of talks between Chinese and Pakistani foreign minister, a 5-point peace formula was agreed upon. Since Pakistan is mediating between United States and Iran, so this 5-point formula, please confirm, has been shared with the Americans. If so, what is their response, and what is the next phase of this after Beijing? Then what is the follow-up as far as Pakistan has been playing a role of facilitator to de-escalate situation? On the other hand, there is no reduction of this ongoing crisis. American-Israeli war is continuing against Iran. Thank you.
Any follow-up? Well, let me first on these 5 points. The 5 points have received appreciation from across the region and beyond. I think there were some statements from the U.S. leadership about appreciation of diplomatic efforts. You must have noticed the commonalities between the 5-point peace plan announced in Beijing with the 7-point summary of the four-party talks, the group consultations that were held in Islamabad. So there's significant commonalities in those groups, and I think the initiative and the points, not just in Urumqi, in Beijing, but also in Islamabad, have received appreciation. It is an effort towards ending war. It is an effort towards cessation of hostility, and it is an effort towards paving the way for a sustainable pathway towards finding the lasting settlement of this ongoing hostilities. Thank you.
में तर्जुमान दफ्तर ख़ारजा ताहिर हुसैन अंद्राबी की हफ्तावार न्यूज़ ब्रीफिंग कहा कि मशरिक़ वस्ता में जारी कशीदगी ख़तरनाक है, जिसके तदारुक के लिए काम किया जा रहा है। ईरानी सदर ने अमन के लिए पाकिस्तान के मुस्बत किरदार को सराहा।
ले आए गैविस्कॉन। ये मैदे की इजाफी तेजाबियत को करे बेअसर और बनाए एक तह ताकि आपको मिले बदहजमी का फौरी हल। गैविस्कॉन। तमाम दवाएं बच्चों की पहुंच से दूर रखें। खुराक दी गई हिदायत के मुताबिक इस्तेमाल करें। तबीयत ज्यादा खराब हो तो डॉक्टर से रुजू करें। दिल और हाई ब्लड प्रेशर के मरीज मालिश के मशवरे से इस्तेमाल करें।
डेटॉल की यकीनी हिफाजत के साथ अब 10 ग्राम बिल्कुल फ्री। ये हल्की फुल्की भूख हमेशा बेवक्ती क्यों लगती है?
हल्का फुल्का
टीवी में किसी को खाता देख लिया तो लग जाएगी। ये लेट नाइट बिन बताए मजे से आ जाएगी। अब बेवक्त की भूख को बहलाने के लिए कोई वक्त नहीं चाहिए। इसके लिए तो सिर्फ हल्का फुल्का टक चाहिए। क्रिस्पी, सॉल्टी, लाइट। खाओ बेवक्त, खाओ हर वक्त।
वाह, पहाड़ों में चपली का वाह।
आलिया, पहाड़ दिल की सुनते, बोल के तो देखो।
अरे किल्लू,
मसूड़ों में दर्द
है कोई हल?
कोलगेट हर्बल नेचुरल है। लौंग, नीम, यूकलिप्टस और पुदीने वाला कोलगेट हर्बल दांत मसूड़े सेहतमंद बनाए। कोलगेट हर्बल मजबूत दांत सेहतमंद मसूड़े नेचुरली।
अब रात में भी चलाओ सोलर पावर विद इनब्रेक्स IP21 लिथियम आयन बैटरी। सोलर एनर्जी में 20 साल एक्सपीरियंस के साथ इनब्रेक्स दे रहा है 10 साल की वारंटी। अफोर्डेबल भी, रिलायबल भी, बड़े सुकून की छोटी कीमत।
This headline news is brought to you by
कराची में सुबह सवेरे बादलों की भरपूर इनिंग्स शहर को तहस नहस कर दिया। शहर भर में करज चमक के साथ बारिश। कोरंगी, औरंगी, सदर, डिफेंस, जौहर, गुलशन इकबाल, नाजमाबाद समेत पूरे शहर में अबर बरसा। सड़कों पर पानी जमा, ट्रैफिक की रवानी मुतासर। सुबह सवेरे काम पर जाने वालों को शदीद परेशानी का सामना। महकमा मौसमियात के मुताबिक बारिश का दूसरा स्पेल शाम 6 बजे के बाद बरसेगा। करज चमक और आंधी का इम्कान जाहिर किया गया।
From the beginning of Operation Epic Fury that we will continue until our objectives are fully achieved. Thanks to the progress we've made, I can say tonight that we are on track to complete all of America's military objectives shortly, very shortly. We have not hit their oil, even though that's the easiest target of all, because it would not give them even a small chance of survival or rebuilding. But we could hit it, and it would be gone. And there's not a thing they could do about it.
ट्रम्प का कौम से खिताब, तवक्कुआत के बरक्स कहा कि ईरान को पत्थर के दौर में भेज देंगे। अमन का इनाम मांगने वाला अमरीकी सदर आग और खून का खेल जारी रखने पर बज़ेद। मशरिक़ वस्ता में मजीद तबाही का इंदिया, कहा कि आइंदा 2 से 3 हफ्तों में ईरान पर शदीद हमले करेंगे। बहुत जल्द तमाम फौजी मकासद हासिल कर लिए जाएंगे। तेल की तनसीबात को निशाना बनाया जाएगा। साथ ही रजीम की तब्दीली का दावा भी कर गए। बोले कि ईरान में अब कोई खतरा बाकी नहीं रहा, जंग के खात्मे के बहुत करीब आ रहे हैं।
ट्रम्प का जंग जारी रखने का बयान कारोबार के लिए तबाहकुन साबित हुआ। एशियाई स्टॉक मार्केट में शदीद मंदी। जापान की मार्केट में 1.5% कमी रिकॉर्ड की गई। जनूबी कोरिया की मार्केट 2.6% नीचे आ गई। हांगकांग की हैंगसेंग इंडेक्स में भी तकरीबन 1% कमी देखी गई।
ट्रम्प के बयान के बाद पाकिस्तान स्टॉक मार्केट में भी शदीद मंदी का रुझान। कारोबार शुरू होते ही 4 नफसियाती हदें गंवा दी। 100 इंडेक्स में 4,400 से ज़ायद पॉइंट्स की कमी रिकॉर्ड की गई। मार्केट 2.87% तक गिर गई। इंडेक्स 1,51,000 की सतह पर ट्रेड हो रहा है।
आलमी मार्केट में तेल की कीमतें फिर बढ़ गई। अमरीकी खाम तेल 4.7% महंगा हो गया। कीमत $104.82 फी बैरल हो गई। बरतानवी खाम तेल की कीमत 5% इजाफे के बाद $106.89 हो गई। गुज़िश्ता रोज़ तेल की कीमतों में कमी हुई थी, जबकि आलमी मार्केट में नेचुरल गैस $2.87 पर ट्रेड हो रही है।
تجمع مخفی افسران آمریکایی در امارات 37 نفر به طور قطعی کشته و تعداد زیادی نیز مجروح و به بیمارستان‌های شهر منتقل شدند. در نخستین هدف تهاجمی این نیرو دو رادار هشدار زودهنگام در اختیار آمریکایی‌ها در منطقه و مستقر بر یک سازه دریایی در آبها و جزایر امارات.
मुत्तहिदा अरब इमारात में खुफिया इज्तिमागाह पर हमले करके 37 अमरीकी फौजियों को हलाक कर दिया है। तर्जुमान पासदारान इनकलाब का दावा। तर्जुमान ने वीडियो बयान में कहा कि मरकजी खलीज फारिस में सेहूनियों के तेल बरदार जहाज को भी निशाना बनाया है, वो फिलहाल जल रहा है। दुबई मीडिया ऑफिस के मुताबिक दुबई के मुख्तलिफ इलाकों में धमाके सुने गए हैं, जो कि फिजाई दिफाई कार्रवाइयों का नतीजा है।
अमरीकी और इसराइली गठजोड़ की ईरान पर जारी जारी। बंदरगाहों एयरपोर्ट को निशाना बनाया। सेहूनी हमले में ईरान के साबिक वज़ीर ख़ारजा कमाल खजागी जख्मी हुए, अहलिया शहीद हो गई। 28 फरवरी से जारी जंग में शहादतों की तादाद 1900 से तजावुज़ कर गई। 24,000 से ज़ायद अफराद जख्मी।
ईरान ने जंग बंदी की कोई दरख्वास्त नहीं की। दुश्मन को सजा मिलने तक जंग जारी रहेगी। ईरानी वजीर खारजा अब्बास अरागची ने ट्रंप के दावे की तरदीद कर दी। कहा कि मुआवजा मिलने तक दुश्मन के अहदाफ को निशाना बनाते रहेंगे। तर्जुमान पासदारान इनकलाब ने कहा है कि आबनाए हरमुज़ पर हमारा मुकम्मल कंट्रोल है। आबनाए हरमुज़ अमरीकी सदर के मुज़हका खेज़ ड्रामों से नहीं खुलेगी।